Sometimes life is a whirlwind. Sometimes things just spin out of control and you wonder, how am I ever going to get out of this? Sometimes it almost seems like it's a merry-go-round where it just same things keep coming up all the time, same things keep happening all the time, and you wonder, how do I get out of this? You know, today our country's in a bit of a turmoil. Although, change of president today and as we call it, the peaceful transition of power, and I'm okay, it's a peaceful transition of government. The people in power are still in power, but that's a discussion for a different day. But the country's just been spinning like it's just in crazy turmoil, arguing, complaining, fighting. We have some of our states that are still locked down and people's lives disrupted, and who knows when that's going to change. We have businesses that are closed for really no good concrete scientific evidence, just because it's a power trip. That's personal opinion. We have a political ruling class that's waging war on half of the country. And so things just, it feels like this whirlwind that just spinning out of control. And what are you going to do about it? And how do we move forward? And we start questioning our own abilities and questioning where we're going and questioning what we can do in the future and in our life. I grew up in Kansas. And one of the most popular movies about Kansas, I guess, is The Wizard of Oz. And it's an interesting movie because it really touches deep about who we all are in our life. And it starts off with Dorothy growing up on a farm in Kansas, dusty place, and a tornado comes and pulls her out of her life and pulls her away from the farm that she grew up on in Kansas and dumps her into a strange world. It's a fantasy world, but dumps her into this strange world. And it's not where she wanted to go. She certainly didn't want to be in the middle of this tornado. She certainly didn't want to go to this fantasy land, but that's where she found herself. She meets the Scarecrow. The Scarecrow lives a life that's going nowhere. He's hanging on a stand in the middle of a field, in the middle of a cornfield, and the crow's sitting on his arms. He's not too scary, I guess, because the person who created him didn't give him any brains. He doesn't know how to do his job. He doesn't know where to go. He doesn't know what to do, and he's just hanging there, stuck. And the crows in his life just kind of flock around and harass him. He doesn't know what to do. Then she meets the Tin Man. The Tin Man, he's a rusty old guy. He's stuck where he's at because he's rusted in place. He's been in the same place for so long and hasn't moved because he has no goals and he doesn't know what to do. He's never moved, so he's stuck in place. He's rusted where he's at because he doesn't have a heart. And because he doesn't have a heart for anything else in his life, he doesn't know what to do or where to go. He's got no desire. He's got no heart for anything. He's got no heart for other people. And then she meets the Cowardly Lion. You gotta love the Cowardly Lion. Poor guy, the king of the jungle, the king of the forest, the king of the desert, whatever. Cowardly Lion. Lions are supposed to be so majestic and powerful, and we just love lions. But he didn't have any courage. He didn't have nerve. And he lives a life that is so far below his potential because he has no courage. He doesn't have any guts. He doesn't have the nerve to be who he was designed to be. We can all find ourselves in one of these people. Dorothy is living a life where she feels alone and maybe feels nobody loves her. And so she gets dumped in this world. And she meets these characters who each one is traveling their own path and is stuck in their own life in their own different way. And we each can find ourselves in one of these. We find ourselves maybe nobody cares. It's a life that we just don't know where we're going, and it doesn't look like there's a future, and nobody really cares, and I don't have any hope. Or I'm not smart enough to know how to be successful. I'm not smart enough to get that job. I'm not smart enough to join that group. Or I don't have a heart for it. I don't have the desire for it. I don't have the ability to move forward to get what I want. Or I'm scared. I don't have the guts to do it. I'm scared because things might go wrong. People might yell at me. Yeah, all of those. When we feel victimized by our failures, when we feel victimized by our shortcomings in our life and the circumstances around us, when we feel victimized by that, then we tend to believe that we can't change that things aren't going to change by themselves, that we can't change our circumstances, that we can't change the outcome, that we can't change who we are inside by ourselves. Interestingly, in The Wizard of Oz, so they believe this, but then they set out on a journey. They follow the yellow brick road. They set out on a journey to go find this wise person. And they hope that they can find this powerful wizard who will solve all of their problems in life. Wouldn't we like to have somebody who could solve all of our problems in life? Let's go find that person. Is it your elected politicians? Is it your boss? Is it a friend? Who is it that you seek after to try and solve your problems in your life? Deep down inside, in the middle of this story, we learn that you don't need to let your own circumstances define who you are and what you do and who you become in your life. That's the story of The Wizard of Oz. That's the story of our life. That's the message that we need to learn. Don't let your circumstances define who you are and what you do and what you want to become. We learn that if you rely on other people or some other thing to save you from the situation you're in your life, you'll only then start to see yourself as a victim because you're counting on somebody else and maybe they won't do it for you, or you don't think they're doing it for you, and so you see yourself as a victim of your circumstances. And what that does is that will then paralyze you from taking action. It'll paralyze you from thinking clearly about where you are and creating processes to move forward. It'll hold you back. So what do you do about it? What you do is you take charge of your own life. You take charge of shaping your own life and shaping your own circumstances. The circumstances you're in today don't have to be the circumstances you stay in tomorrow and the future. You get to decide. You get to define what they are. You get to shape what they are. And when you do, when you start taking charge of your life and your circumstances, good and positive things will happen. Your life will begin to change. And in some fashions and at some point, big game-changing things will come up in your life. And you'll see them happen. And a year or two down the road, you look back to today and you go, wow, I can't believe I was in that spot for so long. Why did it take me so long to decide to take charge of my life? That's the key. That's the answer in the movie The Wizard of Oz. The wizard he was wise. He didn't have any power other than power to convince them that everything they needed was up here. All they had to do was believe in themselves take charge of their life, be determined to shape your own circumstances to move forward in your life, because it's up to you. No one else is going to do it for you. And you need to stop feeling like a victim in your life and take control and take charge. I would say trust in God. And you will see amazing things begin to happen in your life. That's your Wednesday wisdom for today. We made it to the middle of the week. Awesome. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great rest of the week coming up. And you know what? I'll be back and talk to you tomorrow.